All right. Hey, everybody. It is Thursday, March 28th. Welcome to another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin, along with...
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and you said March 28th.
Oh, isn't that crazy?
It's totally crazy. How are we here?
I'm booking people on Monday going, I can't believe it's going to be April 1st.
It's going to be April, and I was just thinking back on this. We started this the middle of November, I think. I'm not sure when our first episode was, but I know
it was before the holidays.
It was definitely before the holidays, and I feel like it was just before Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh.
We're doing great.
Look at us. I know. Say, look at us.
Now you're replying as three people, which I love.
I know. I don't know why it does that, and I don't know.
I'll take it.
I don't know what to do about it, but I'm like, oh well.
So
it's happy more interaction.
Happy holidays for those celebrating ahead this weekend. I know it's an extended holiday break. Some have tomorrow off and Monday, and some just have tomorrow, and some just have Monday. So anyway, happy
Easter to all who celebrate.
Yeah.
So it's hard to think that it's like Easter already. This is an early one.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So my birthday is April 22nd, and it has been at that late before. One time I had a bunny cake 1 year. What?
A bunny cake. I love it.
And other than that, it's never ever in my 47 years, this will be 47, has it been on Easter again. So it's really interesting how it falls. But I think it's after the full moon, it becomes, I don't know how it goes. I remember looking it up, like, why does it shift so much? But it has to do with the full moon in February.
Yeah, and I follow Orthodox Easter, which was always, it's always after, is it before or after Passover? So we follow the Jewish calendar because the Jewish calendar just, is more, I guess, more from the Bible, like from
Gotcha.
Biblically based, right?
Gotcha. So when is that then? How is it different?
Sometimes it falls on the same. It's not this weekend, or Sunday, May 5th. Oh gosh, so it's another month away. So
interesting.
Yeah,
I just love that. I just love that it's just a time of gathering, and it always is representative of, like, past winter. I mean, we made it through winter, and it always just feels like very like, oh, like we've arrived or something.
When we hit Easter?
Yes.
I know. It does. It's like there's that equating of springtime with Easter and all of that celebration. It's like, oh, good. We can now wear white again.
Yes. Well, there's no faux pas anymore as far as that goes, which is so awesome.
Do whatever we want now.
We can do whatever we want. So super fun week. Actually, there's just been a lot of really great stuff going on at my office as well as yours, I know. And one thing I just wanted to kind of start off with today. Well, principle number 12 is a heavy hitter, and it's actually when stuff gets really good. But you guys never know what the principles are anyway. But I do want to just chit chat a little bit about why we're doing this, which originally, the word doctor comes from the word teacher, and to teach and educate. And one of the things that Dr. Paula and I do on a regular basis is we teach through story. We are both very well versed in storytelling. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of like a kudos for getting on a stage this weekend to be in a storytelling competition. So I just wanted to ask a little bit about where storytelling came for you, how you started with that, and maybe a little snippet, little sneak peek preview of maybe one line or two lines from two of the best lines of your story. And then where you hope to take this, because we are constantly, not only for our own stories, but we have stories of people and stories and Anyway, so tell us more.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. So, so for those of you who don't know, speaking is my ultimate passion, and I spoke at TEDx Detroit in 2022, and I was bit by that storytelling bug. Now, I have been speaking for 30 years, but when I speak, I'm teaching in a different capacity. It's very workshopy. It's like we're going to talk about what to eat and how to cook and how to stretch and how to move and how to think. And those are very different types of talks. Mm-hmm. So when I did TEDx, that was, I had to tell a story. Like, I couldn't just get up there and do a workshop for 8 minutes, right? And so it was a challenge. It was a mental challenge. It was, and I loved it. I loved every minute of crafting my speaking ability. Like, I feel like it was like, oh, wow, this is a whole new world. So from that came this weekend's storytelling competition, which I'll tell you about in a second. But if we go way into the Wayback Machine, my dad was an Orthodox priest. So I would watch him in front of the congregation every week. And he had he had so much charisma and this ability to, people would just hang on his every word. And I will never forget just watching him in awe of that gift. And he never wrote a sermon. Whatever was in the gospel that day, he would just be like, okay, the lesson is whatever. And he would just stand up and he would deliver this like most eloquent, sermon that was so impactful and touched so many people. So the ability to see him masterfully speak and have that kind of an influence, that set in me really as a young age. And I was always the kid that in class, I was, who can answer blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Me too.
And after a while, the teacher's like, could you put your hand down? Who wants to come up in front of the class and...
You're probably more that than me. Not coming. So yeah, that's great.
So that's really like the genesis of all of it was just seeing him and feeling like I do feel like I got his gift because I've not only have I kind of worked on it, but I just feel, I don't know, I feel like I got the gift through infusion, through observation. So that leads us to this weekend where this is a storytelling competition. And when it came about, it's 5 minutes to deliver a story. So I immediately signed up for it because I'm trying to challenge myself to speak in a very different way than what I know so comfortably for 30 years. So it's 5 minutes. If you go over 5 minutes, you're automatically disqualified. But I think I got it. Now the TEDx talk, while not disqualified, if you went over 8 minutes, I finished my talk in 7 minutes, 58 seconds. I was the only one that came in on time. Everybody else went over. So I was like, I deserve an award for that. So that's the other thing. And then also I was on a pitch show, a TV pitch show 2 summers ago as well to pitch my body butter. And I had to craft a story and a pitch. So again, very different. That was 2 minutes. If I went over 2 minutes, the camera shut off. So again, very daunting, but I just love the challenge. I love the mental challenge. It's like people love doing Sudokus or crossword puzzles. This to me is like such a beautiful personal challenge. So my story this weekend is about
2 lines.
2 lines.
2 of the best lines, the ones that are going to be like, holy cow, I need to make sure when she posts that sucker that I take a look at it.
Oh man, that's a tough one. Okay, let me think.
This is why I asked that. So I've been on the Moth stage, and if any of you know the Moth, it's also storytelling, and I've done this for years, and I've been on three times. And those that don't get chosen that day, because there's 10 stories told, and if you don't get chosen, you get to tell the very first line only. So
Okay.
whoever doesn't get chosen still gets to go on stage. And so they want you to be like, you got, so I want maybe the first line and then maybe another line that's like,
Okay.
or something. That's why I
Okay.
asked.
Okay. I'm going to give you the second line because the first line's pretty uneventful, I would say. I
Okay,
mean,
let's hear
it's
it.
it's a hook. You're right. But the second line is, as my mother thumbed through these little green stamps, and I didn't know what food stamps meant at the time, I also did not know it meant we were poor. And when the cashier gave her total, she's thumbing through and she got a look of panic on her face because she didn't have enough to pay for the groceries. So that's actually like the second and third line. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little over.
Yes.
Just
A little,
no, that was great.
Little drop there. Little drop in there. Yeah. Yeah. And then the story goes on again. It's just 5 minutes, but it's about the words and experiences and the actions and how they form us and what we allow them to form us into and what we take control of to transform our lives beyond things that really have been told to us over and over as children, and being able to transform our lives beyond that, right? So our healing and our growth and all of that. So
yeah, well, how about just taking that to what we've been told about our health on a continual basis? Like we're here trying to change that narrative all the time. So it's whatever you've been told, you still have the opportunity to live maximum. You really do. It's so great.
Yeah. And she's the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because her lessons, and I talk about her words versus her actions, because her actions were very different from her words. And where I'm at today is because of her actions.
Yeah.
The words, not so much, but
yeah. No, well, the words are also where you are today is also because of your actions.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that's everybody apply to everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially your health.
And take the actions. Right. And so, I just truly believe in legacy, beyond material and money. And that if we aren't giving our kids the right messages, feeding them properly, teaching them how to live, teaching them how to move, what does it mean to have a good, healthy life? That has to start young, because people struggle so much as they get older. They really, they're like, and listen, anybody who's hearing this message who hasn't grown up with those kinds of standards and values, you're probably like, I wish I had. I would be so much better off if I lived my life like this from the beginning. So it's the opportunity to hit the reset button, because there's always room for improvement, but then also teaching other people with young kids, like change the narrative for the youth, for the kids.
Well, and we know that that's really where health needs to be focused on. And, by the time we're into our teenage years and into our 20s, as teens and 20s, we're just going to make some really crappy decisions. That's part of life, right? We're not going to be perfect. Teenagers are supposed to be doing what they're doing. But when their principles are, I drank water growing up, like I was told to drink water. I wasn't allowed to be on TV and on screens endless hours. I was needed to be outside. I needed, these are the things that are implanted and ingrained in us.
Girl, the TV went dark at 10 o'clock when I was growing up. Okay.
We weren't even allowed in the house. We were not allowed in the house. Mom would be like, go find something to do. Yeah. And you knew better than to stay there anyway, because if you're going to stay here, if you're just going to sit there, I'll give you something to do, which is my constant internal dialogue in my mind.
There's the words, right?
Yeah.
The words and the messaging. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, we weren't allowed inside. We were able to watch, I think, like an hour worth of cartoons on Saturday morning and maybe a half hour to an hour in the evening of TV. And that was it. Yeah. You get outside. I mean, I grew up on an apple orchard and I had about a square mile to roam all the time. I had horses. I had a horse when I was 10, like all those things. So it was just a different kind of way, but it also drives me to get outside all 4 seasons, to get my body moving every single day. There's not a day that goes by, but that really is because I want to walk my talk. actually, I want to get out and have main character things happen in my life. So I want to create my own stories, and I want to, make a difference and matter and love and live in this world. So
And
anyway,
we can't have an impact unless we create that impact within ourselves.
for sure.
If you want to have any kind of impact, you want to run a business, just be a great mother, a great father, daughter, sister, whatever it is. If you want to maximize that kind of humanness within you, then you
Right.
have to maximize your humanness. Like,
Right. Period.
it's got to come from here first, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And one
Yeah.
of the things that we mentioned last week, which I've just been ruminating in this so much, is that when that vital force and that life force exits the body, that's when we start to have respect for it, because our loved one just passed away. And what if we have respect for that vital force and the innate intelligence that's driving this thing from today on, instead of waiting until it's leaving our body to really say, dude, whoa, like, whoa, that's amazing. We can just say, dude, whoa, like, this is amazing, this right
Yeah.
now. And how can I respect that as much as possible every day?
And pay attention to it. I think that's
Mhm.
where people get desensitized
Yeah.
to their needs, their body's needs, and that's what I always tell my patients with chiropractic. My overall goal, which will happen, is that you are going to become more hyper focused on your health and the small changes, so that they don't build up, so that
Right.
it becomes a crisis for you. So we
Right.
need to make small corrections along the way in life, so you wake up in the morning. Well, shoot, I was up for 2 hours last night. I don't really know why. I ate a really light dinner. I did have one cocktail at dinner because I was out with a bunch of women. And so I don't know, was that it? I don't know. So I have to put a microscope on it and go, why didn't I sleep last night? Because I'm tired right now. Like I'm still feel like I'm performing at my best,
Yeah.
but you stack that up to how many people don't sleep on a regular basis, and they go, oh, I've never slept. I'm like, you need to fix that. Like
Yeah.
that, you can't just like chalk it up to it's no big deal. It's got to be, you've got to pay attention to that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So one of the other things that we mentioned, which I was sort of bringing last Thursday morning, and we talked about the fire alarms, which I think you put it as fire alarms and principle number 12. So we'll eventually get to principle number 12. But last Thursday was wild. It just was a wild day. And I know that we were here and there was a lot of moving parts, of course, always. And but anyway, I was driving over to my orthodontist appointment in the morning, and we talked about orthodontics last week and how that's a whole process and we don't get to stop in the middle, and same with chiropractic, right? So revisiting that. But while I was driving over there, one of the tenants in my building, now I have a 10,000 square foot wellness center and 17 office spaces that are all taken up with individual tenants. And the one called me, hey, the smoke alarms are going off. And I'm like, oh, for goodness sakes. I didn't say that. I definitely used expletives, because that's how I usually talk. I'm trying to keep it kind of clean on here. But anyway, I was like,
It
for
is hard
goodness
sometimes,
sakes,
isn't it?
I know, for goodness sakes. So anyway, I run up the stairs to the orthodontist clinic, and I'm like, I have to cancel. So sorry. And so anyway, one of my other tenants called, and she's like, you can't do anything anyway. We have to get the right professionals here anyway. So get your orthodontic appointment, which they were taking all the 24 buttons, grinding them all off my teeth last Thursday, which we'll talk about that later date, and what that did to my
That
nervous
sounds
system.
awesome,
It was,
by the way.
it was torture for an entire hour. But the thing was, okay, so fire alarms go off in the building, major warning signals. And so we have to call the fire department, not because we have a fire. And it turned out that a spider built a nest with its webs in one of our smoke detectors. But the
Wow.
smoke detectors has a visual eye. And so it's telling us there's an issue. Like through the visual eye, it's taking this cobweb as smoke. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we can't get them to turn off for nothing. So I had to call a tech in, and he has to go through, and he found the spider. We didn't know it was a spider because we're like, why is this malfunctioning? But I just wanted to bring this to the fact that, and I know we've talked about smoke alarms at fire department before. Those smoke alarms, had they not gone off for us, if there really was smoke, we would have a real big issue. However, what I didn't need was for the fire department to come here and spray my building down. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need them to do that. They needed to locate issues first. But what I want to say is that the signals that our body gives us on the regular are sort of the alarm systems going off. And if we put on, so for instance, sinus infection, right? So we have a sinus infection, and our body goes through this process of dealing with the infection. Now, this infection isn't going to take over our entire body, but if we spray that sucker down with enough stuff to make it go away, we really didn't get to the problem, which is the immune system and the nervous system. So when we're taking drugs and we're putting them into our system to block these signals, and that's like the fire department just spraying down for whatever fire may or may not be here, right? So let's just start to listen to the signals. Now, my nervous system was jacked, not only from listening to the fire alarms through the phone, but also knowing that we were going to have to work inside of that somehow. I had tenants waiting to be able to work. And also, I was getting my entire mouth grinded on. My nervous system was jacked. Guess how bad I needed an adjustment?
Oh my gosh.
So badly. But anyway, just think about that. Like, we don't
But you're
need to
fine now. You're fine.
Yeah,
You're fine.
it's fine.
Fine.
But we don't need to hose down our entire body. We need to wait and watch the signals. We need to not, we just need to be more ingrained with the signals. And I'm just going to wrap that right into principle number 12, which is interference with the transmission of universal forces. So it reads that
you guys, listen up.
Yeah.
Are y'all here?
This is when everything starts to get,
Come back.
Turn your hearing aids up. Lean in.
This is a big one.
There can be interference with transmission of universal forces. So this is really what we start to work with as chiropractors. That is truly the subluxation that we're looking for in the spine. But it's also that spider in the fire alarms. That's also interference to our normal here at that building. But what we see is that we start our that information superhighway, then spine, brain, spinal cord, spinal column, spinal, and the spine. When we have misalignments, we have interference going on to that information superhighway. And then we have a little alarm. We have digestive disturbance. We have brain fog. We have menstrual disturbances. We have hormonal disruptions. We have headaches. We have arm pain. We have neuropathies. We have lots of different things. But the thing is that if we can pay regular attention to this, go to a chiropractor, seek out that interference. Yeah, bug in the system. You got it. There was truly a bug in the system. That's how our body works too. We can get that interference going on in there. That's going to start to set off alarms. It starts quietly, and then it starts to be that. I got to tell you guys, the blood curdling, ear bleeding, not even kidding, squeal and screech that the alarms make here, impossible to work with. Our body gets that way too. It becomes impossible to get through our days. And we're set up, we're in bed, we're doing whatever, like just can't get around. We're headed in for spinal surgery. We're headed in for, to douse the whole system and major, you know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Let's start to listen. So,
or just go take some Tylenol or Advil. And, when you think about those signals, think about when you're on the phone with somebody, or you're listening to a video and the audio is messed up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I said, and you're screaming into the phone, thinking that your friend is the idiot, but it's just the transmission. The signals aren't connecting.
Right.
And again, this is your body. So
It's
you can't
important.
listen. It is like you can't listen if there's bad audio, if there's poor visual on a video, say, you'll listen. But if there's poor audio, there's a podcast that I love, Dan Kennedy, and he's like this big, massive, longtime business coach, and Russell Brunson, who's also like pretty big in the funnel hacking world. And so Russell Brunson does these interviews with Dan Kennedy, and the audio, and I'm like, these two are like brilliant in their fields, and the audio sounds like an old crappy transistor radio of Dan Kennedy. And I can't listen. I'm like, I want to appreciate and listen to Dan Kennedy's brilliance, but the audio is so bad. So that's how your body starts to, you get this disruption in the transmission of the signaling. And then your body's like, oh, I've got reflux. Oh, well, you can just take a pill for that and take some Tums, or I got a headache, or I have a rash. So let me put some cortisone cream on. And paying attention to that becomes super critical. And I want to present you with this idea that it's not even an idea. It should be a practice, a common practice, that when you have any kind of like, symptom of any kind, now that's down the road. So once you have a symptom, whatever it is, has been lurking around for a really long time. But if you go to your medical doctor, not your chiropractor, you go to the medical doctor and they want to prescribe drugs, surgery, some kind of outside intervention before they recommend for you diet change, drink more water, let's work on your sleep, let's make sure you're taking the proper nutrients. What kind of food are you eating today? What kind of diet are you on? Do you have any issues that need to be addressed through diet and lifestyle change? If the first line of defense is to put you on medication, you are in the wrong office. You need to leave. You need to get
immediately.
Fix your health through natural ways, like it's designed to do. Stop interfering with the natural transmission of the innate intelligence.
Get your superhighway on board. And then respect that. And I freaking love that line. We need to for this one, crazy how so simply, wonderfully, intelligently connected. It's so true. Perfect. And we need to really start to say, like, even the immune system, like there's no one. Okay. So when we think of the cardiovascular system, we have the heart, right? And then the blood vessels and all that. When we think about the respiratory system, we have the lungs and everything that it does. We think about the muscle system, we think about the bone system. But when we think about the immune system is not one thing. It's this beautifully orchestrated system. And that once we have this signals this cascade of events so that this happens, and then this signals this cascade of events for this to happen. And it really is a beautiful orchestra. And so let's just say, like, we just come in and we just like stop the whole thing. I've had this patient come in and she's been under care forever. And she actually left care for like a couple years and she came back and she's been now under care again for about 3 years. She said, I've learned so much under care and in this office of how beautifully connected the body is. She said, the principles that you come with to me. So last week she was in. Now she knows exactly what she should be doing, including she's been in the sauna before as well. And so she said, I had a sinus infection. And I'm like, okay. And so she said, so I went to, now give your body a minute with a sinus infection.
Oh my gosh.
To battle the infection, you guys.
Truth.
Like what?
Right.
I
dealt with this thing for 3 days and I had to go get a Z-Pack.
Yeah, it's not going to infect the whole body. Like, it's not going to happen that way. It's going to be a sinus infection. Then your body's going to go in and it's going to like get rid of that. But what she got on a antibiotic, and that one made her feel good for half a day. And then it got so much worse. Yes.
Really?
Yes, it did. But guess what you could have done? Increase your vitamin C, make sure you're getting your exercise, get in the sauna, drink a ton of water, take a break. You know what I mean? And it's like, we have to give our bodies a chance, because not only did that antibiotic wreck, or, it helped fight off that infection, but what else it did, it killed our gut flora. And so your gut is part of this beautiful orchestration of the immune system to be able to do that. So this is also an interference with the transmission of universal forces, which is your immune system, which is going to get on board. It's going to take care of you. It always will, always will. And I'm just like, stop the madness. Stop fire hosing my unburning building. Stop. I'm like, so
it's so true, though. It's so true.
Over it.
I'm over it.
I am.
Well, I had I'll tell this story now. Is last night I was with some people, and a woman that I've known for many years, who had been a patient 20 some years ago, and said to me, she goes, and I haven't seen much of her in the past few years, but I've seen her a handful of times in the past few months now, and I love her. I love her dearly. So she says, "Okay, I have to ask you." She goes, she's a CPA, so very busy, very busy. She goes, "Once tax season's over, can I just come in? Like, I just want to come in once or twice. Can you help me?" And I looked at her and I said, I'm going to answer that question by asking, can you do my books? But you just need to reconcile January. I mean, don't bother with the rest of the year. Just do that. Mm-hmm. And better yet, teach me QuickBooks, and then I'm going to figure it out and go to H&R Block. Like, I don't know where that lack of connectivity. So then she says, "So you can't help me?" And I go, "No, I can help you.
Yeah.
But on my terms, not yours. Mm-hmm. I will tell you what you need in order to get the help." And then I said, "You had braces as an adult, didn't you?" And she goes, "Well, yeah." She actually had legit braces, not Invisalign, like Dr. That's like, I'm not saying Invisalign was a walk in the park, but she had all that glued onto her. And I said, "So when the orthodontist said to you, it's going to be 2 to 3 years and $5,000, did you say, I only want to do it for a month?" She was like, "Well, no." And she goes, "But I have commitment issues." And I go, "Again, did you go through the whole cycle with your braces?" And she's like, "Well, yeah." "Okay, well, it's spinal alignment, spinal correction, spinal reconstruction, just like it is for your teeth." And she's like, "I know." "Well, it's not like, if I just come in twice, I won't go around telling people that I went to see you and it didn't work." And I go, "I don't care." Like, I'm not even accepting you as a patient if that's how you're telling me you want to work this. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I make it really easy for you. You come in, you get adjusted, you leave. She's right down the road. So you'll have 20 minutes. I'll have you back at your desk, Mm-hmm. But if you make zero commitments to your health, guess what your health is going to make to you?
Right.
Zero commitments.
Right.
So that is, and to me, and I know Dr. Erica's this way too, like, our health is non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. That is like, I had a patient in this morning who's pregnant, and she's doing all the things. She's getting massage. She got massage and cranial sacral this morning. Then she got her adjustment. Then she's going to go exercise, and I said, and she's like meditating. And I said, "Boy, you remind me of, when I was pregnant." And I said, I did all the things. I wasn't sick. I was trying to was growing life. I wanted to be proactive. I did acupuncture. I got massage. I got chiropractic. I exercised. I ate amazing. I mean, you have to be proactive with your health and yourself if you want your life to be moving forward like it should. And we can't make the excuses, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we go right back, and I'm going to say this every single episode: eat well, move well, think well, drink your water, get your rest, get adjusted. And if you're not taking care of your spine along the way, you're just, it actually makes no sense at this point. It really is like, I'd love to try and make that make sense. And that means getting adjusted. And it also means like the actual movement. And yeah, there's a lot of ways that we need to be leveling up on the daily.
I mean, think about potholes. You're driving along a road and you hit potholes.
Yeah.
And it causes damage to your car, maybe throws your front end out of alignment. Your vehicle still drives, but boy, it's kind of annoying. Again, the information superhighway from your brain to your body and your body back, that is the innate. And if you got potholes all through that superhighway, it's going to wreak some havoc over time.
Yeah. I have this patient. So I had one of my neighbors called me on Friday. I work Monday through Thursday and one Saturday a month. And Friday we're in a big snowstorm. Yeah, this is awesome. I'm so excited for your first adjustment too.
We can't wait to hear about it.
I know. And this actually reminds me of this story. So my neighbor called, she said, I'm so sorry to call you on a day off. And actually I'm not that sorry because I'm calling you. And she said, my husband had a hearing test done on Tuesday, and he's been throwing up and dizzy and nauseous and throwing up since for 4 days. And she said, we can't get out of the house. We can't do anything. He's absolutely miserable from a hearing test. So I go over and I check him, and instantaneously with an adjustment, he went from severe vertigo. Of course, the MDs had Anavert and anti-nausea, and Anavert, I think, are the two, whatever drugs that they put him on. And so from there, he was getting no relief from that. And with one adjustment, it made such a big difference. And so anyway, he said, well, now, so then I didn't see him Saturday, and then I saw him again on Sunday, and I've seen him Monday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. Now he has to fly to Florida. But he said, I've been wanting to go in. I've been thinking I wanted to do chiropractic for a lot of years. But when I see the adjustments on TikTok, it made me a little bit nervous to know where I was supposed to go and what I was supposed to do. And he hugs me every single time, because it literally, that one adjustment changed his world to open up a world so much bigger. Like just 2 months before, his wife, actually, she said when I was leaving, she said, he got to the point a couple of months ago where he was just in so much pain and discomfort. Like his light had been dimmed so much that he's like, I can see why. And he does some big stuff. Like I won't reveal much more of the details, but with that one adjustment, and now he's had 6, so Friday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so 5 adjustments so far. His whole existence is changed. And he is now like, will you come on this weekend retreats to do the blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of things that'll open up for it. But it's like that hearing test. He didn't have a fall. He didn't have a car accident. He didn't have anything. There's so much stress going on that it finally just tipped him up and over the edge. And he was miserable, like
crazy,
beyond miserable, and just couldn't even function. And he's, I don't know how old, maybe mid 50s, upper 50s,
young, super young,
very young. It was super young. But young for these days, right? That is super young these days.
Yeah.
And just really like, what if he didn't get adjusted? What if he just put drugs in his system? What if he was still too intimidated? And fortunately, his wife was like, hey, I'm going to call Erica. I'm going to just see. And so I actually went over to his house, because I'm like, don't get on the roads. Don't get in your car. I can actually come to you. I just have to, I did a meeting that morning, but I was on my way over there after that. And I got my portable table out, had the activator with me, Paula's favorite adjusting tool.
It's a beautiful tool.
Yeah, it's a beautiful tool. But just that one adjustment, imagine. I can only imagine how many years his body needed an adjustment. Fortunately, we've become, Dr. Paula and I, and is truly one of my goals, is to stay and remain approachable healthcare. So that you can come to me and ask me this question. You send me a DM behind the scenes. You can do whatever, reach out in any way you want to. So grateful that we're that. and that people can ask that question. Although that question last night was so annoying for you to answer.
It's like,
I know it is like really one adjustment can make a difference, but a series of cares, if you commit to your care, and obviously there's many other things about that woman. I've already heard the story. There's many other ways her lifestyle isn't working for her anyway. So anyway, yeah, it's that powerful, but that interference. So we go back to principle number 12, interference with transmission of universal forces. There can be interference there. We, as chiropractors, locate that. Massage therapists can't locate that. We adjust that. Massage therapists, physical therapists, physiotherapists, MDs, whatever, they're not doing what we're doing. You can only get that from a chiropractor. So all of you who are inspired to go, we're so happy. Let's see.
in our messaging.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the ways we get this interference. So
Yeah.
there's three main ways that we always talk about. And the most obvious that people think of is a physical stress. So you slipped and fell, or you sit in a chair all day, you know, you have tension in your neck, you're on a laptop computer. Those are the physical stressors. Or, you know, and many of you may have had a car accident, slip, trip, fall, something 20, 30, 10, 40 years ago. And you're not giving that trauma any credit to where it sits in your body today. I've got a 50-year-old woman. She's like 52. Her spine looks like that of like a 75-year-old person. Her spine is trashed. It's crazy. And so we have the physical stress, which is the obvious. And then we have the chemical stress that's okay, maybe instead of having water, you're drinking soda, or you're using artificial sweetener. My top three are no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors, high sugar diets, seed oils, processed foods. Those are all
energy drinks.
Energy drinks, yes. Toxins in the air, but not even toxins in the air. But how about your Glade plugins? I always talk about that, like your Glade plugins, your body care products. Those are all chemical stressors. And then we have the emotional stressors, which Dr. E and I talk about this all the time, is that your trauma is in your tissues. And how many people actually like cry or have an emotional release after they get adjusted, because this trauma has been held in their tissues forever. And oftentimes it's up to us to recognize that when we're taking someone through a course of care and we think that they should be improving a little bit better or differently than where they're at, or, you know, we're really good at listening, we start digging. We're like, tell me more, what happened when? And we might have to go back and dig into time, or maybe it was a divorce, or, you know, maybe you got divorced, maybe it was parental divorce, or, you know, a death in the family. There are so many emotional things that affect our nervous system and our body's disruption in that transmission. And so, it is important to pay attention to all not just the physical, but the chemical and the emotional. And so people will be like, oh, I'm going through a divorce. Why would an adjustment help me? Because it's going to help your body get out of fight or flight for a minute.
Yep.
And that's what you need.
Yep. The other parts, people say, I didn't do anything. I'm like, that's your problem.
But then we go, you're lying.
Well, get up off your booty.
Oh, I don't do it. Oh, I thought you said, yeah, I didn't do anything, like no traumas.
No, they say I didn't do anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's also a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, again, super hard stop here just because I got to jump on the road and see my baby and get back here and see patients. But such good questions, you guys. And, you know, we just like get started riffing. Like we could go on for hours.
We totally
and maybe one day we should.
You know, just we really need to do like a Saturday at your house.
Yes,
and just
a Saturday
afternoon.
Like a
3-hour long form, you know. We'll get Anna. I think we need to get Anna, our partner in crime, on there as well.
We will. Yeah. So, we'll set that up, because you can tell we just start getting riffing, and then we're like, well, we have to tend.
Do you want to tell everybody what number 13 is?
Yes. So I want to go back just one real quick to number 12, interference with transmission of universal forces. So remember, the universal is the big, innate is in us. That's our part of the universal. And there can be interference to the transmission of universal forces. Go see your chiropractor. Number 13, the function of matter. So the function of matter is to express force. We get way simplified again, but it will wrap in how the force, the universal force, and our bodies and matter and all of that. So just stay tuned. Like I said, we get riffing and then we gotta wrap it up. But that's our way of just making sure that you guys stay interested enough, engaged enough, and also are excited for what we bring each week. So
yeah, keep the questions coming. We love that you're here. Love your engagement. Please make sure you share us out.
Yes.
We're
like,
really looking to grow, and we appreciate you so much. So we'll see you again. I'll see you Sunday for Sunday Night Live. See you here next week for Chiropractic is Sexy.
And good luck with your story.
13. And what?
Good luck with your story. Make sure.
Oh yeah, I'll let you guys know how the story goes on Sunday Night Live because that'll be Saturday. So, all right. See you guys soon. Love you all. Thank you.